The Halls of Equal Justice, a tale of responsibility and redemption. The morning light filtered through the tall windows of the courthouse, casting long, golden rectangular shapes across the polished wooden floors. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was one of solemnity mixed with a modern sense of purpose. Above the bench, a nameplate stood out in bold, elegant lettering: Judge Ebony K. Williams. To many, this was just a room where disputes were settled, but to Judge Williams, it was a sanctuary where the most important values of the country were upheld. She looked out at the gallery with a gaze that combined the warmth of North Carolina, the spirit of Louisiana, the cool composure of the West Coast, and the sharp, unyielding edge of New York City. Judge Williams believed that equal justice was the cornerstone of freedom and integrity. She had dedicated her life to the law because she wanted to be a voice for those who felt they had none. Her court was a place for everyone, regardless of who they were or where they came from. Today, the scales of justice were set to weigh two distinct cases, each carrying its own lesson about communication, honesty, and the unintended consequences of our actions. The first case involved a young woman named Steph Foley and a defendant named Vanessa Tyson. Steph Foley, a schoolteacher with a gentle demeanor, stood at the plaintiff's podium. She was seeking $1,209.99. Across from her stood Vanessa Tyson, a woman who enjoyed hosting social gatherings and believed in a more relaxed approach to life. Judge Williams began the proceedings by addressing the plaintiff. She asked about the nature of the dispute. Steph Foley took a deep breath and explained that she was suing for the total cost of legal fees she had incurred after attending a party hosted by Vanessa. Steph recounted how she had accompanied a mutual friend named Rachel to the event. As the evening progressed, Steph felt a bit out of place as Rachel and Vanessa were caught up in their own conversation. Feeling hungry, Steph wandered into the dining area and spotted a tray of brownies. Having a sweet tooth and not having eaten much that day, she consumed one, followed by a small glass of red wine. However, as she left the party, a strange sensation washed over her. She felt tired and woozy, a feeling she initially attributed to the awkwardness of the social situation. While driving home, she was stopped by a police officer for rolling through a stop sign. Unable to communicate clearly, Steph was arrested for driving under the influence. It was only later, after her friend Rachel bailed her out of jail, that Steph learned the truth. The brownies were laced with cannabis. Vanessa Tyson defended herself by stating that she hosted parties every Friday night, and it was common knowledge among her regular guests that the brownies contained THC. She claimed there was a sign next to the pan and that she gave a general announcement at the start of the evening. However, Steph, who arrived later, had never heard the announcement and insisted she never saw a sign. Judge Williams carefully examined the evidence. Vanessa provided a photograph of a small, handwritten sign that read, "Wheat brownies laced with THC." But the judge noted a significant flaw in the defense. It was not reasonable to expect a first-time guest to be aware of the private customs of a household. The responsibility lay with the host to ensure that every guest was clearly and emphatically informed when food contained controlled substances. The judge spoke with a firm yet compassionate tone. She reminded everyone that driving under the influence was a serious matter that could cost lives. In this instance, Steph Foley had unknowingly consumed a substance that led to her arrest and significant financial burden. Therefore, Judge Williams ruled in favor of the plaintiff, awarding her $1,209.99. The lesson was clear: transparency and the safety of others must always come first. The courtroom cleared briefly before the second case was called. This dispute involved a wedding singer and a disappointed bride. Lucy Olson, the plaintiff, was suing Tina Graham for $1,000, claiming that the singer had lip-synced during her wedding reception. Tina Graham countersued for the same amount, alleging that the bride's social media posts had caused her to lose a different contract. Lucy Olson expressed her deep disappointment, stating that the live performance she had paid for was a central part of her wedding vision. She felt deceived when she realized the vocals were pre-recorded. Tina Graham, however, offered a different perspective. She explained that on the day of the wedding, Lucy had insisted on an extra, full rehearsal that lasted 2 hours. This unexpected demand, combined with the pressure of the day, had strained Tina's vocal cords to the point of damage. To ensure that the wedding was not ruined, Tina and her band used a high-quality backing track that they kept for emergencies. Tina argued that she still performed by dancing and that the band played live instruments, fulfilling the essence of the contract. Judge Williams listened intently. She examined the text messages and the contract. She noted that while Tina had faced a difficult situation with the extra rehearsal, a client who pays for a live singer expects live vocals. A pre-recorded track, no matter how well produced, does not constitute a live vocal performance in a legal or professional sense. However, the judge also addressed Lucy's actions following the wedding. The day after her marriage, Lucy had posted a scathing review on social media, calling Tina a fraud and a scam. This post led directly to another client canceling their engagement with Tina, resulting in a loss of $1,000 for the singer. Judge Williams looked at both women. She saw a lack of communication that had spiraled into a legal battle. She ruled that while Lucy was entitled to her $1,000 back because the live performance contract was not fully met, Tina was also entitled to $1,000 in damages for the lost wages caused by the defamatory social media post. In the end, the two awards canceled each other out. Neither party would receive a check from the other. Judge Williams advised them both to communicate more effectively in the future to avoid such misunderstandings. As the gavel fell, the courtroom became quiet once more. The day had provided two powerful lessons in the halls of equal justice. Whether it was the responsibility of a host to inform their guests or the need for professionals and clients to speak honestly with one another, the underlying theme remained the same. Integrity, respect, and clear communication are the foundations of a harmonious society. Judge Ebony K. Williams stood up from her bench, her New York edge and Southern warmth blending into a smile of quiet satisfaction. She had done her part to ensure that the voice of the law was heard and that justice, in its most equal form, had been served.